First time that Marco has been on his lid. Remember Indianapolis a few years ago, got upside down there. The crowd giving Marco a hand as he climbs out. He is not happy, as you would expect in this situation.
I think Helio misjudges braking by about a football field. I had a good one going. I was gonna have it woed up and turned, inside of Briscoe, but that's what happens. We try to start so close together. It's great for the fans, but it's no good for me today.
Danica is talking on the radio about the double foul restarts. Let's listen in.
Man, those freaking restarts are ridiculous. They go so fast, and then they bunch up so slow.
Yeah, it looks crazy.
What happened, Ryan?
Well, racing with Dario, Will, and Tony was fine. It was all the other guys behind us that just came down, not using their head. Just cleared us out from behind, bent the suspension. So these restarts, they're all great on ovals when you have like NASCAR running really slow cars that are slow to move, slow to accelerate. You get all these cars that can go from 100 miles an hour down to 30 like that, you're gonna have big problems. So it's ridiculous. I mean, you run a good race, you run a third, fourth, and you got to go put yourself on the outside with a bunch of just
other drivers.
Yeah, bleep.
A very frustrated Ryan Hunter-Reay, as you can imagine. He was running very well, had frustrated in qualifying, was making up for it, and now he's potentially going to come back, but it's going to be a while.
Now what happens here? Does EJ make the pass easy for Tony and maybe a little bit more difficult for Simona? Let's see what happens here. The team would have told him that your teammate's coming up from behind. EJ should just go to one side or the other, get off the throttle, going down the straightaway, should let these guys go through and race. But he's driving hard enough now. It looks like it's going to mess up Simona going into the turn. Yep, she's got to run a tighter line. A little bit more difficult. Now she goes wide. That's just got to anger her so much. And
You're all right.
For Viso, not very professional.
So it costs Simona quite a bit of ground, and now she's got to try and figure out how to get around EJ Viso. We can tell you that Will Power and Tony Kanaan have been burning up the push to pass. Kanaan is down to 6 left. Power's down to 9. Dario Franchitti's lead, 7.7 seconds.
How about that maneuver by Tony Kanaan to keep Simona behind him? What was your thought? I saw Vince Kramer immediately complain to the IZOD IndyCar official about it.
Well, there's a rule, right? So we'll leave them to decide if they want the rule or they don't want the rule. But whatever. I mean, it would be nice to have got past him. But it's a good result. We'll take it.
Congratulations, Keith.
Thank you.
Marty.
A career best finish for Simona Di Silvestro as she comes home in 4th position.
Castroneves comes up the inside, makes it 3 wide.
It looks like the 59 car just turned down a little bit too tight on Simona.
And there was definitely side-to-side contact. Viso tried to keep the wheel spinning to keep it going, but then, of course, had contact. Now, let's see. This will be the look at the right front, because that's where the contact happens. She gets squeezed in the middle of the sandwich.
I'm not sure she was hit by anyone or thing.
Just had a little tap on Viso, though, to get him turned.
Didn't take much in that corner. You're on the edge as it is. But
this is Kanaan. Danica behind.
Tony did a nice job.
Boy, he got some spots there.
Nice job.
Simona Di Silvestro is out of her car, and so is EJ Viso.
And on that restart, Simona, I think, got into EJ. That wasn't his fault, but, I mean, day one of racing school, you learn when you're spinning, you hit the brakes and the clutch, and he just hit the gas. And I went around the outside of him, hoping he just hit the brakes. He pinned it, the back end whipped around and took us out. So, it'd be easy to make a Viso joke right now. We're not going to do that, but it wasn't his fault he spun. He put himself in a bad position and then ended up taking outside too. So, unfortunate day for the whole team. Newman-Haas deserved better than that today. Sprott deserved better than that today. But, keep your head up, and we'll move on to the next one.
You going to go have a conversation with him?
There's no point. If he doesn't know what he did, if he hasn't learned it yet, he's not going to learn it, so there's no point talking to him about it.
All right, thanks, James.
Thanks a lot.
All right, so cleaning up here at Barber Motorsports Park.
Hey, it's up to you. You guys have the steering wheel in your hands. Try to give each other enough room, a little bit more respect. Here we have the conversation between the two gentlemen that got in the last wreck.
Hinchcliffe on the right and E.J. Viso on the left. They are having a heated discussion, it would appear.
So much for, well, I don't really need to talk to him about it if he doesn't. He changed his, oh, there's a, looks like reconciliation.
Okay, all right, all's well. See you in Long Beach.
Oh, wow, that's a tough place to make a pass right there. First of all, when you hit a curb, like where you're going, you're not going to turn. You're going to go straight, and that's what exactly that happened. He hit that curb, and it just launched him at Briscoe. And
you know what? Ryan Briscoe gave him room in a place that you most likely wouldn't, but Ryan Briscoe was trying to do the right thing. He gave him room knowing that he was trying to make an aggressive move, but like you say, Wally, the moment that Hunter Ray hits the curb and flies through the air,
there's no control.
You're like
when you
a missile.
That. Yeah.
When the contact first happened, Ryan Hunter-Ray said, I thought he was giving me room, and he just turned down. Moments ago, when he was told of the penalty, he said, you've got to be kidding me, and then followed up with, I can't believe this.
That's one of those things that you could take both sides of the story. It did at one point, like you said, look like Briscoe was leaving it open.
Yeah.
And Hunter Ray's like, no, I better not pass there, but he's letting me have it, and he went in there. I mean, that's a really, really tough call.
And I know that when you're driving and all of a sudden that happens, you're absolutely convinced that the person ahead of you just totally chopped you. But when he sees the replay, he'll know that Briscoe, he had a curb on his left side.
Yeah,
he couldn't go anymore to the left.
And caught up with Ryan Briscoe, and we'll let you watch the replay here in a second. What's your take on what happened?
Well, I mean, I think, Ryan, he's on the red tyre, and he's going quick. I'll give him that much credit, but he's sticking his nose in where it doesn't belong. And I tried to give him room when he went down there, and then, I don't know, it looks like he just jumped the curb and went straight into me. But it's not a passing zone, period. He's going that much quicker. He can wait half a lap and pass me where there's a braking zone. It's just really frustrating because we had a great car today. The Penske truck rental car was going fast. We were just hanging in there, waiting till we got on reds, and I was going to go race the Ganassi guys up front. But I don't know. I mean, they've penalised him. At least they've done something, but it doesn't change how our races ended today.
He seemed dumbfounded by the penalty and said that you came down on him.
Well, that's Hunter Ray, you're going to get that. But it was his fault. It wasn't a passing zone, and he drove straight into me, and it's just really frustrating.
Great race today.
Thanks.
Bob, jump back to last week real quick. Some contact with you and Ryan Briscoe. I understand you two talked when you got here. What was that conversation like?
It was fine. I mean, it was, probably an over-optimistic move on my part, very aggressive move on my part, and I'm going to be just as aggressive today. That's how I am. I'm going to take chances, and I'm not one to just sit behind and settle. I'm gonna go for it. The team told me at the time that he knew I was on reds, and Briscoe was saving fuel, and that RP told him, hey, if he's faster, let him go, and that's on me for letting that influence the decision. But I'm going to be just as aggressive today, and that's how hopefully we'll go win the race.
You mentioned
Ryan Briscoe. We just talked to the other Ryan. You all talked. Is it settled, or does it come into play today?
Oh, no, it's all good. We talked, and actually Ryan rang me shortly after the race, and he actually came up to me again today and just said he apologized and said he's even more so after thinking about it, and it's fine. He was really fast in Barber, and I think just got a little bit impatient with the timing, but I've made mistakes before as well, and we just got to move on, and he's got himself a really good starting position today on the front row. I've got a little bit more work from 12th, so hopefully I can catch up and go racing with him. But I really want to thank Penske Truck Rental and everyone at Team Penske and IZOD for the support. Hopefully we can get a result here and maybe get on the podium.
Yes. Let's get down now to the IZOD Pit Performance Center with Marty Snyder.
Kevin, it used to be that in the old days, drivers would settle arguments with their fist outside back of the fence. In the last 5 or 10 years, it became the phone. They would call each other on Monday. Well, now what do? When they're having an argument, they tweet each other. This is what happened. This is what happened last week. Ryan Hunter-Ray tweeting to Ryan Briscoe, hey, I was radioed by my team. Penske guys had told Ryan Briscoe to let me go. I was on reds. He was not saving fuel like them. And then Ryan tweeted back, said, I'm moving on a positive note. I thought the restarts were awesome. It was fun racing today. There was also one from Paul Tracy about Ryan Briscoe and the Ryan Hunter-Ray incident. And there was another one from Paul Tracy to our own Robin Miller, where he said, hey, it's easy for you to talk about loving these restarts. You don't have to pay for all these car parts that are having to be replaced. So, Robin, you said you always wanted hate in the series. Do you and Tracy need to tweet each other and make up?
What Tracy doesn't understand is a lot of car owners have spent a hell of a lot of money on Paul Tracy through the years.
Yeah, exactly,
Marty.
right?
So the
Yeah.
most important thing is I don't care what the drivers think. I care what the fans think and the people that watch TV think. They like double file restarts. Keep them forever. And PT can afford go-kart parts, but he can't afford IndyCar parts because he took a pay cut.
Hey, I totally agree with you, but in case you guys do need to make up, just remember, tweet them. Everything will be okay, I promise.
All right. If I could learn how to use that computer, I
If
will.
you could learn how to tweet, that's the key, right?
I can barely speak.
All right, were you aware that Scott wasn't very happy with one of those restarts? Was that relayed to you?
I know he came up beside me and did something. I was like, what, dude? I mean, what was I doing wrong? I was just starting. I was maintaining speed, and I don't know what he was complaining about.
Let's get down to Lindy Thaxton.
Scott Dixon, who finished second, Scott, Will Power just said he doesn't know why you were so upset about that restart.
About all the restarts. You know, we were told in the drivers' meeting that the left lane has to be left of the center line. He was in the right of the center line. You know, I was pretty much on the grass in some of those restarts. So, you know, I can understand why he was doing it. He was trying to keep on the clean side of the track, but you can't have the inside and the clean side of the track. It's not how it works. But, you know, in the end, I'm not sure we had enough. You know, we definitely tried, and I burnt the tyres off towards the end of that stint. We definitely had speed for about 15 or 20 laps, but we came up short with the target team today, but still a good result, especially with Dario coming through in the Clorox car. Obviously, that was a hell of a run from 7th to 3rd.
All the contact is exciting, but it's also expensive.
Well, it is, Kevin, but here, that's just it. Look at the people, listen to the people when they have a restart, when they come down every time they're two abreast, and there's action going on. That's what we have never had. The other thing is, we need some hate in this series, and we're starting to develop some. It's only raised 2.
Tempers are certainly up.
There's a healthy, no doubt, respect between Ganassi and Penske. There's also a healthy animosity there. Is that growing, do you think, Scott?
Yeah, definitely losing some respect for one of the Penske drivers. No, but, you know, it's competition. It's very tough. And, you know, when you're talking about a few, you know, hundredths of a second, that's what it comes down to. So, you know, what goes around comes around. We'll see when it comes around.
All right, Dario.
Some of that piece, you couldn't hear it, but I'm getting the sense that a lot of drivers have been angry with you at different times. What's going on?
I don't know. I guess I'm winning. Yeah, I mean, I think yesterday Scott Dixon was on a lap, and I got out of his way as quick as I could, and, you know, I'm sorry. I hate when that happens to me. So, you know, he may have made it to the fast 6 if I hadn't been there.
I guess you talked to Scott yesterday?
I saw him this morning and apologized and said, I know it doesn't make a difference now, but sorry, man. I didn't see him till he was in the corner. I moved out of the way as quick as I could.
We're developing some rivalries in this sport, though. What's the biggest rival you have right now?
It's probably Dixon. He's complaining about me a lot, you know, after the race last week. I don't understand what he's talking about because we are racing after the start-finish line. He's talking about me crowding him, but, you know, that's racing. It's going to be tight, and I believe that he's going to be one of the championship contenders this year. So, you know, he's trying to put the pressure on.
All right, I'm going to upset with this guy. Well, sure they were. Show it. We need a bad guy in this series. More than anything, we need a bad guy. Well, who could it be? Right now, it could be Will Power. Dixon's mad at him. Briscoe's mad at him. Dario's kind of got a little bone to pick. But he drives for Penske. Penske don't want no drivers being bad guys. No black suits. He had Paul Tracy. He could have been a bad guy. So probably the best rivalry might be within the team before the season's over with Briscoe and Castroneves and Power. And then the 2 Ganassi guys don't like him. But we need more guys being in the mix to win races to really have rivalries.
All right, they're probably going to go full course caution. Let's get in. And turned out that he was able to back up.
And here's the other look,
Wally. Castroneves.
My golly, you are right.
I saw that same bump, but they cleared around the outside.
Well, let's drop Justin Wilson back to 13th position. Justin Wilson about the officiating that's been going on, and this was his take.
So, you know, we just want to know what the rules are. If there's no rules, contact's allowed, that's fine with us. We'll go out there and race and bang wheels, but, you know, they tell us one thing and then they don't back it up. So that's, I think, why a lot of people are getting frustrated, fans, drivers, teams, and, you know, that frustration can come out in many different ways.
Robin Miller's a man never lost for words. We heard Justin talking about the officiating. What's your opinion?
Bobby, the drivers want to see Brian Barnhart be not only consistent, but they want to see some real teeth in some of these rules. They want to see somebody like Castroneves get penalized a lot more for what he's doing than just a hand slap. Take, for instance, Wally Dallenbach, senior. 20 years, he was Kart's chief steward, made a lot of tough decisions, lost some friends because of it. After the 1998 finale, he told Paul Tracy, you're going to miss the start of the 1999 season for your rough driving. Sent a message to everybody in the community, this guy means business. And I think that's what everybody wants to see Brian do. Don't just say, you know, you went to the back and that was good enough. Make this guy miss a practice session. Take a red set of tires away. Or maybe just say you're not going to run the next race. Do something that's going to send a message and make people say, look, you're really serious about this.
And I think it's worth taking a look at the rule in play. A competitor must not initiate or attempt to initiate avoidable contact that results in the interruption of another competitor's lap time or track position. Well, certainly that's clear. That's crystal clear. But there's another rule that says the senior official, in his discretion, may levy penalties. So therefore, even though that is concrete, the penalties are not. Senior official being Brian Barnhart, we had an opportunity, and I asked him this morning two things. What about Justin Wilson's comment that it's not consistent? He says, we feel we've been consistent because we've been levying penalties if there's avoidable contact, if someone is making an unsafe maneuver. If it's not an unsafe maneuver, we're not penalizing them. Well, that's what got the drivers all so fired up to say, hang on a minute, so now you're trying to judge intent? That doesn't make sense. So I said, how do you answer to Justin Wilson? He says, well, those guys are fired up because their days were ruined and they were innocent victims. But in this sport, there's no way as officials we can give that back. Now, to Robin Miller's question, can the penalties be more severe? He says, well, they could. That's a completely separate issue, and maybe we need to look at that.
But there's a wreck here at the end of pit road.
Oh, no.
With Marco Andretti and
Sebastian Bourdais.
Bourdais is very angry. He's motioning to Andretti in the car right now. Very upset. Very upset.
We were just talking about it, guys. I mean, this pit lane is always throwing a lot of guys in for a curve.
Yeah, it's probably my fault. I should have said something. I had no fucking idea.
Bourdais climbing out of his car. It's obviously over for both of those drivers, and we apologize for the language. Marco will come over and say a few words to Sebastian.
We heard his words. I had no idea you were there.
And that's the deal where, listen, when you're a driver in the pit, when they say go, 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 to you think you've got a clear lane.
Now what's going on?
I want to get back in the car.
It may not be damaged. Well,
they may have to just change the nose
if
the front suspension isn't. But like I was saying, as a driver, you're relying on your crew to send you out after the pit stop is done. And like I said, when you get go, 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 you go. You think you're clear. So you really have to rely on your team on these pit stops, you know, when they drop the jack.
Well, he's trying to give Wilson room on the inside. He's looking to his right, giving Wilson some room as they're side by side, and he just pinches Sebastian Bourdais into the wall.
Marty Snyder.
Well, Sebastian's come behind pit wall, and what exactly happened there?
Well, they just set Marco, and since they sent him, it just started to move and move and move, and I was on his left side, and he just told me he didn't see me. He had no idea I was there, so it's too bad. The Boy Scouts car was not so bad in this race stream today, so I was hoping for better luck.
All right, this adds to a very frustrating past couple of weeks for Sebastian Bourdais. Kevin.
Marco, what happened in the contact on pit lane with Bourdais?
I have to take full blame. I had no idea he was sitting on my left rear. I moved over. I just had no idea he was sitting there. So I got to take blame for it. Obviously, it's disappointing, and it was easy one to avoid. You know, I had no idea he was sitting there.
Be good run. Somebody's going to duck in here and try to make an out-braking maneuver.
Oh man!
Power's on the outside.
Not where he needs to be.
Whoa, look at Castroneves. Oh,
he
took out his teammate. I can't believe it.
Helio, Castroneves, and Will Power spin.
Castroneves takes out Will Power. Oh, is he in trouble? Woo!
Oriol Servia also spun, but he got going again.
That is not good.
Whoa.
Castroneves is pretty far back.
Look
at
how
this
far
point.
back Castroneves is nowhere even in the picture. And then, pow.
You know what? Yeah, that's he locked the left front. He locked the tires up.
That is,
went straight.
Well, Lindy, a little controversy there at the end of the race. What was your take, Will Power, on the contact with your teammate?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see it. I just got hit from behind as I turned in, and yeah, not good for points. You know, we oh, you got it here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm on the outside there. Turn in. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, that's not very.
Here's
good.
the onboard angle.
Yeah. Oh, gee. Yeah, that's pretty blatant, but you know, got back to 10th. Lost probably a pretty good chunk of points to Franchitti. We're looking like a good day here, but that's racing and that's double file restarts, you know.
You handle this differently because it's your teammate?
Yeah. You know, I know what to say. I mean, it's man, it's not very good, but hey, it's racing, and you know, it's close racing, and these things happen.
All right, yeah, Bob, and I've known Helio for a long time and never seen him this dejected. What was your take on the contact with your teammate?
Well, first of all, AAA did a hell of a job. You know, we didn't have a car to be right up there, and we actually were running on top 4, which was great. So my goal was just basically not making mistakes and finish, and obviously it was a huge mistake. Really don't understand. Still, for me, very difficult to timing the double file restart, and certainly I wasn't even trying to pass Will. I really apologize for the team. Certainly, taking him out, it was not a smart thing. So I feel terrible. Certainly, we got to move on. We got to turn the page. I'm certainly going to talk to him, and because it was not on purpose, and I would never. My long time with the team, I never took any teammates out, and this was a very tough one. But again, good for Ryan. He deserved a good second place. Should deserve the win. And but our car AAA again did a hell of a job. Hopefully for next race we overcome these problems.
This one's really hitting you hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is my team. You know, we're teammates. I obviously want to finish in front of everyone. My point is, we don't take each other out. That's the first. That's an acceptable thing. I taking all the blame. There is nothing that I can say about. But I'm really upset. I'm sorry. Justin.
You'll chat with him before you leave, right?
Yeah.
All right. Helio Castroneves obviously very upset. Finished 12th today, but not a very happy 12th place finish, Bob.
Yep. Helio.
Day for Mr. Penske, although his car finished second, so that's the good part. But you've been through this before, Roger. How do you handle it when a teammate takes another teammate out?
Well, first let me congratulate Michael Andretti and Conway for a great run. I mean, they really had it there at the end. It was time to go. We were obviously happy with Briscoe's run, but you know, I looked at it on the monitor, and obviously Helio didn't run into the back of his teammate. Whether it was slippery down there, what happened, I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's too bad that it happened. We got a long way to go. These guys are teammates. They've helped each other. So to me, I close the book and move on to the next race.
I know you don't. Do you have them sit down here and just chat about it, make sure everything's closed up?
No, I think that they'll talk here. I don't need to be a school teacher with these guys. These are grown men. So, you know, we'll talk about it and we'll move on.
All right,
Fans and drivers, a lot of people talking about that incident at Long Beach, one of many involving Helio this year. Allenser Jr., one of the IndyCar officials in race control, was quoted as saying, "We keep track of drivers and will continue to watch Helio." And here was Helio's reaction when we talked to him yesterday.
It's the beginning of the season that I certainly not want to have it, but unfortunately it happens, and we just got to turn the page and keep going. But you know, it's not typical. So we gotta hopefully we're here in Brazil, get them some positive energy, and go out there and do our best.
One of the people that he ran into earlier was Justin Wilson, and when we arrived in Brazil, we saw this banner on the back of Justin Wilson's car indicating the number of times that Helio has had contact with another driver, and note at the bottom it says space available in this particular weekend. Now, we also talk with back here with these three. There's Simona Di Silvestro's car on top of Danica's, and Helio Castroneves once again involved in an early incident.
You know, I said at the top of the show, you've got to get through a race to get your confidence back. This is not what Helio was looking for right here.
So then let's take our attention back over. Let's pause it here if we can. And it's worth certainly, I think, taking a really close look at where we are back in here. Okay, because that's Dario Franchitti, and then on the far side, that is Castroneves. So go ahead and let that roll. Now, why, first of all, is Castroneves hanging out there on the outside?
Still really hard to see if he really went to the left quick there. The only thing I can say, if there was contact, it was off of Franchitti's left rear, and it hit Helio's right front. But Kevin, maybe you can straighten it out for us because you're with the man.
Very sad. All our associates, you know, hopefully Indy, we definitely got to have our luck back because it's just frustrating.
We'll hang with him, and he wants to talk to a pit tech right now. So I'm going to let him do his business, and then we'll try to find out whether they can make it or not. One other note on Graham Rahal, who runs in 5th. Not too long ago, it looked like Graham was going to be in trouble. He has pitted 3 times. He came in, then he had to serve a penalty because he came in with the pits are closed. Then he came in again and topped off. He has been told he can use his push to pass, so he might. Okay, Michael, what are you checking with the pit tech about?
Well, Viso was blocking, and so we just wanted to let him know. I guess they warned him. So.
How close are you on fuel? What do you need to make it the rest of the way without stopping?
We need some yellows. We need the track to either dry out and we go to dries, or we need some yellows.
Okay, pit tech coming back over to confer with Michael Andretti.
And they continue to battle for position.
And in fact, Michael, seems like the team has prevailed. We've just heard from race control. They're going to black flag Viso.
Wow. That's...
wow.
That's a wow, yeah. What a drive from 26 to 2nd, and they black flag him.
That's where you wish they just make him move over and just give up the position. You know,
and that's twice. That's twice that he's been dinged today. He got dinged and had to give that position back earlier by shortcutting the same place, almost in the same fashion we saw 2 other cars. Again, were those 2 other cars forced there? This one here, I guess if they've determined he went to the inside half of the racetrack, which they define very clearly in the drivers' meetings here in Sao Paulo, as they do every race. If you move to the inside half of the racetrack with someone behind you on a braking zone, we're going to penalize you.
That put Power up into 5th position.
I see, because they're saying that he's on the inside half of the racetrack and he's making Marco go around the outside. And from what we understand, that was not just that 1 lap, Kevin.
And Viso just rolled through pit lane, so he has now served the penalty. He's been told you've blocked 7 times, so he's been penalized. He did not come in immediately because they're having some radio issues and they couldn't get the message to him. But now the penalty is served, so Viso was in position to possibly win this race or certainly get a top 5. Now.
And basically, I just got penalized with the drive-through penalty, which I consider very unfair. I don't respect that decision from the series. It's a wet race. All I was doing was braking in the dry. I never wave, I never block. And if they say the opposite, I want to see it because I was pretty much doing what everybody was doing. So I got a drive-through penalty and start overtaking cars again, but at that point it was pretty late in the race.
All right, thank you. And unfortunately for EJ Viso, he has to settle for 13th after a good run today, Bob.
Consistent, yeah.
Oh, that's turn 2 again.
Yeah, you did. Just ran out of fuel.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh. Unbelievable.
Guys, Dario's only words on the radio were, how was that possible, guys? And he just said it again, how is that possible? Ran out of fuel.
Wow.
Well, this will drop him to 9th.
That's incredible. Wow.
That is pretty much a given calculation, you know, how much fuel you use in 4 laps in qualifying, and obviously somebody's numbers weren't.
If nothing else, it's just
right.
embarrassing for that team.
Now,
that's something you don't expect from Ganassi.
It's worth saying you always run the minimum amount of fuel that you can.
Sure.
So they try to cut it close, but by design, they know absolutely the exact number they need to make a qualifying run.
Huh. Well, the car has made it to pit lane, but man, what a disappointment and what a development for Dario Franchitti, who runs out of fuel on the 4th lap of his qualifying.
And it's just over 6 gallons is what you need to complete, and that's a fairly well-known, I found it in my notes here, so just over 6 gallons. Somehow, if they got 5.8 or 5, whatever.
Well, yeah, he can't start any worse than 9th, but he will start there because this 4th lap won't even going to count as far as speed is concerned. So he was 3rd, and now he'll drop to 9th. And here was the reaction of Chip Ganassi.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. That is a big headache right there. So his teammate Scott Dixon now will have the racetrack.
Now you start thinking, well, we got enough fuel in that thing.
We use the same fuel pump?
Yeah, fuel calculations.
Uh-oh. If they went off the same sheet, maybe he has to go to fuel save mode on his warm-up laps. But I doubt that would be the case. We're joking, but wow, that's crushing.
Yeah, Dario wants to have words with somebody.
Oh, I don't think he wants to have words with anybody. That's why he's got his helmet on.
Marty.
Well, with Chip, and is that one of the more frustrating things you've ever been through in racing?
That's one of the more frustrating, I'll tell you. To run a guy out of gas like that is inexcusable.
Are you now worried about Scott's car?
I don't know anything about Scott's car here. That's Mike's car.
All right, and he will watch Scott Dixon qualify here, talking about Mike Hull, the man who runs the number 9 team, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway giveth, and it taketh away, doesn't it, guys? Whew.
Wow.
When Scott Dixon was coming in, he ran out of fuel. He cut it awfully close as well, Bob.
Yeah, he's still in turn 4, well off the racetrack, which isn't going to prevent Alex Tagliani from getting up to speed, but that car is also out of fuel as it coasts through the 4th turn.
I wonder if that thing just bobbled a little bit on the last lap for that drop of speed he had on lap 4.
Yeah, could be.
If you're cutting it that close, I bet you it'd be real interesting to see if he says, yep, that thing missed. Because that's cutting it awfully close.
Here we go.
Final
run of the...
Boys, gas is over $4 a gallon, and these two right here would have paid a lot more for that yesterday. Now, I know, it's the way it goes. The whole key, though, is you're trying to cut it as close as you can, and it was just a little too close, and our boy Chris Simmons made a great call in Chicago last year, so they can't be too tough on him.
No, absolutely not. It wasn't cutting it close. It was a mistake. After the first run, they pumped the car out of gas, but there was a communication problem, and basically we didn't know, or some of the guys didn't know the car had been pumped out, so they calculated putting X amount of gallons in, but there was 2 gallons missing from the end of the first run, so it was just a screw up.
So,
Marco Andretti, you've been complaining about speed for a few days now. Was this the wind or the same problem?
Yeah, we haven't made any improvements. We're slow when we rolled off. We're slow in qualifying, so it's beyond me. I mean, I don't have an answer, unfortunately. That's why I'm super frustrated right now.
So do you feel like if you went back out, there wouldn't be anything more in the car?
I'm not sure there is. Yeah, I'm really nervous that we're, I think as long as we can field this car, we can win. It's just whether or not we can field it right now. I mean, we're in a bad spot.
So when you've been running race setups, it's felt okay?
I've been working on qualifying, trying to find speed all week. So, in an ideal world, you bank one today and work on the race car tomorrow. But, it's going to be the longest weekend of my life.
And are you watching the weather based on what you're going to do this afternoon?
Yeah, like everybody else, but I don't have any answers right now for you.
Okay. Robin Miller?
Lindy, just maybe one of the more frustrating days. When you see a guy like Penske struggling to get in the top 24, any way to just put it in words?
right now we're just I'm in shock right now, so we got to try to get over the shock and then try to regroup tonight and figure out what the hell we're doing wrong, because we're doing something wrong. I mean, all our cars are slow, so and they've slowed down over a mile an hour from yesterday, so I don't know what we're doing wrong.
Thanks, kid. Lindy?
Andretti here has 3 cars in, 2 are out. Let's start with Danica. She's not had an opportunity today. A tech issue. She missed her spot in line. Was it just a minor issue and they went back to the back of the line? What happened?
Yeah, I guess it was. It was just a bit of a miscue, I guess, and got sent to the back of the line, and which cost her, because she would have been in, because she would have been her first one to qualify, or second one to qualify, which would have put her in, before the rain. And now the weather is just really screwing us.
It's one thing to deal with this with one car with one driver. If you're the driver, what about dealing and thinking about 5 different situations? You've got 2 that are not safe and 2 trying to get in.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough situation right now. It's as tough as I've ever been at this moment. It's probably the low moment of my career of ownership right now.
Does Mike Conway have enough speed if we get dry and get to go back out?
Yeah, I mean, if he would have just kept his lap on his last lap, he lost a 1/10 of a mile an hour. If he would have kept that, he'd be in right now. That's how close it was on the last lap. So, we think he can, get a little bit more out of it. So.
Okay, that's Michael Andretti. It's just a light sprinkle here, but the track is wet. We're no sooner than an hour and 15 minutes away, if it stopped right now, from being able to qualify again.
3 of Michael's 5 cars are in. The fastest, John Andretti, then Ryan Hunter-Reay and Marco Andretti on the back row right now. But Conway got bumped, and Danica Patrick is next in line, but not yet in the starting field for this year's 500-mile race. Corner number 4, and successfully take the checkered flag. He will get into the race. Marco Andretti survives a painstaking afternoon. The checkered flag drops, and Marco Andretti does indeed get into the field with a 224.628 miles an hour. He'll start inside row number 10. Marty is with Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Well, a hug from Paul Tracy and Graham Rahal. How helpless is that feeling, Ryan? Can you describe it?
It's a matter of timing. We were just sitting there in line. We had going on what Marco did. We were going to go out for another one if anybody bumped us, and we just ran out of time. We were on the unlucky end of that. I can't even fathom this at the moment. I've been saying all week, this team has great race cars, and if we just get in the race, we'll be contenders. And now here we are. I mean, this matters. This is what matters most to me and to this team, and it's just heartbreaking. My teammate bumped me out. That's not ideal.
Does that make it worse?
That's just, yeah, it's hard for the team. Mike didn't make it. Sundrop and DHL deserve a win, and we've been super fast this year. And this is bad though. This isn't good. We gotta rebound from this somehow. But I don't know. I can't even comprehend it at the moment.
As competitive as this team has been, was this even on the radar coming to Indianapolis?
It was on the radar since we rolled off the truck, yeah. We've got an issue, but it's what teams do. They go back, work on it, and resolve it, and so that's what we'll do. I've got a lot of faith in these guys. I think our deficit was before we got here, so we need to work on that. The work we did here at the Speedway, we found quite a bit of speed, but we can only do so much with it. So I don't know. I don't even know what to think right now.
Surprise and devastation for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He does not make the 500, Kevin.
It's just 2 feet in the wrong place, and it's been happening all day long. He almost won it with 3 wheels.
Can you imagine the feeling that young rookie has?
And here comes the 98 to get past, and look at how close it really was. There is Dan, and there comes Hildebrand coming across the line, and look at the reaction, and John Barnes can't believe it, and neither can the rest of his team.
Oh, how heartbreaking. What a great drive.
Hildebrand just shaking his head, and he still crossed the line in second place. Now, I'm sure that's a record.
You just won the Indy 500 again.
The moment that you actually saw Hildebrand in the wall and you knew you were going to win, the Indianapolis 500?
I just felt a lot of relief. Obviously, I knew it was okay because I could see him moving, but you know, it's an incredible feeling. I've been runner-up the 2 years before this, and I never gave up. I mean, Kanaan nearly put me in the wall going into 3, which was very, very interesting. But there's a lot of great storylines today, and I want to.
Now, late in the race, there was an incident with Danica Patrick between herself and Jay Howard. And here's the radio communication. Well, first, let's look at the incident.
I don't think there was any room between myself and him on the exit of. I will chop him so bad if he does it again. Yeah, copy. I was complaining. I saw it. He did it earlier in the race, too. And I talked to his spotter. He was on it. He was telling Howard you were there. And spotter said sorry about it.
Well, there's a lot of adrenaline that's flowing through the veins, Dan, when you're out there running that close.
There is, and you've got to respect the cars that are around you, and you could see looking in his mirror at where she was. So you'd expect a little bit better than that. Maybe he was concentrating on trying to hold on to the car, but, you know, Danica's very feisty, and she won't be happy, and she won't forget.
Yeah, I can't complain. I mean, we move forward. The guys are going to make some small changes, try and make the car a little better for the next race, and I guess I upset Danica, so sorry about that.
All right, Jay, you got a job now of choosing any tire.
Well, it seemed like Dario was cruising there for quite a bit. Was it as easy for Dario as it looked, or were there some issues there?
No, I mean, you know, he had a good car, and I mean, he had clean air. We're going to see, you know, now it's a jump ball for the second race. We got 1 hour. We got to go draw. You know, we may end up in the middle of traffic. It can be a completely different car. So, you know, these things are, you know, it's not over till it's over.
Right, and you could draw, and he could start last in this next one. Does that make you nervous, the unknown?
Well, let's just say that I don't agree with this stunt style format here tonight.
Chip, thank you. We'll see you at race number 2.
And what he's talking about is they typically tune Dario Franchitti's car to run out front because they know he's there. If he draws a position way at the back, they can't run the same setup because you can't run at the back of the pack with the same setup car. They'd have to change it in between. That, and Chip has definitely been very vocal. He does not like this draw.
Yeah. And so has Dario. Dario wanted the grid to be inverted. He doesn't like the idea of him being at the back and Will Power being up the front, which is absolutely understandable. He wants to win this championship based on performance, and so, you know, he's been vocal too.
Make this thing official here tonight, but now the starting field is set for the second race in the Firestone 10 275C. Will start in 28th position, the next to the last row. This should be fun. I'm going.
Good idea. I think that most of the drivers would like to see happen when they do this again next year.
Yeah, we, any driver I've talked to, he said, look, let's invert the field, which would mean I'd be starting 2 places worse off, but then it's fair. I don't think any of us like the kind of complete lottery aspect of just drawing. And I think it would be more exciting with Scott, Will, and myself all starting at the back. And plus, this is a championship race. This isn't like an all-star standalone race. We're here fighting for the championship. And now Will's drawn, I think, 3, and I've drawn 28. Pure luck. So that could have a detrimental effect to the championship. As we've seen, this thing gets won by 4 and 5 points now. So I hope tonight's not what it all ends up being about at the end of the year.
Cal Coven, Jimmy Vasser smiling after a race on an oval. That's right. Sato had a hell of a race. Viso had a really good race. And Tony Kanaan starts on the pole. And you're smiling.
And he doesn't get the 10 grand or the point. I just don't get it.
Well, you don't like this format. Would you rather see an inverted lineup, or what would you like to see?
Well, personally, yes, an inverted one would be fairer. I mean, when you got 2 guys competing for the championship like Power and Dario, and it's just based on a draw, and one's up front and one's at the back on no particular thing except a lottery, it's not entirely fair.
Yeah.
16th and 21 places you both moved up in that last race. But, Dario, when you looked at the points, you were just shaking your head.
Yeah. Just like I said earlier, I can't even use that word. Yeah. To make it a lottery in a championship race, starting position as lottery. Surely this is the racing is about skill, and tonight was just that. The whole for the second race was just a lottery. You know, the grid positions for the first race were based on who did the best job, and then rather than invert the field, so we're all in the same boat, they do this pulling the thing, and we saw the result. Worst case scenario for us, you know, we passed all those cars, but still Will drives off, you know, through pure luck of driving, of pulling that that number, he wins the race. You know, Scott did a great job trying to beat him. My guys at the target team did absolutely as much as they could, and we got hosed tonight. So I hope we don't lose the championship by that many points, because I'll be pissed off.
Scotty, Dario says he was hosed on it. You came out pretty good in that 2 second place finish.
Yeah, you know, I think we both got hosed. You know, obviously we had to pick from an 18th starting position or 28th. But what I think they need to do, if they're going to have a gimmick like this, they need to give you extra point for each car you pass as well. So there may be
passing points. I like it.
You know, passing points that might work. You know, we had much tougher race tonight.
Well, guys, a couple of suggestions. Maybe next year, Twin 275s might have a few different rules.
Well, I'm sure they hope so. All right.
Happened just a moment ago. Watch this. Comes upon traffic. He knows he's got a faster car. He's able to get back on the gas faster. And the National Guard machine with J.R. Hildebrand comes over and tails gets into his lane. Those two guys almost hit tires. Now watch the left front going past his right rear closely. Now watch Hildebrand's right front right there. He wanted to come up high. Franchitti wanted to go low. And that was almost a disaster right there for Dario Franchitti. Dario Franchitti has led every...
Up they go.
Issues on pit road for Scott Dixon, as they have just finally gotten him turned, and they had to even come out and jack him up and turn him into the box.
Have a good stop here, guys. That was fucking Sato.
A huge problem, and I think we had a word on the air there that we didn't want. We apologize for that, folks. That was one of the spotters. We'll take a quick break. We'll sort it out. Now, we're not clear if it's a wheel and tire from, you can see right now with Dario Franchitti trying to get into his pit lane, and Sato was directly behind him, so it seems like there was a mix-up there at that point in time. It looks like one of those wheels and tire combinations ended up getting hit. Now, this scenario here was Sato, as he finally finds his correct pit box, ends up hitting his crew member, and that delayed his stop and put him way back in the queue.
So that's what... And Kanaan showed up, didn't he? I mean, Tony was really strong. Typical racing with Tony, though, man. You can race with him inches apart. He gives you room, I gave him room, a lot of respect. Typical. And then you race with Helio, and, you know, you'd think after last year's penalty, the guy would quit the block and stuff, but pushes one way down against the wall. I go around his outside, he pushes me up into marbles. I don't know what it would take for this guy to understand that blocking is not allowed, but anyway, on the good stuff, I'm so happy to have one here come back to the mile, man. This is hard work.
They are not going to make any adjustments, and Lindy Willpower is out. Oh, and he comes together with Charlie Kimball. Kimball was coming into his pit stall while Power was going out, and heavy contact for the championship co-leader. They'll back Power out. Kimball is backwards.
Championships are won and lost.
Yeah, they sent him, and well, that is the responsibility of the crew members to send. It looked like Charlie Kimball was a fair way back, but no, that you don't want to wave your driver if you know the position in Charlie Kimball. Now, Charlie Kimball was in the fast lane, though, wasn't he?
Determine exactly what happened here.
Oof. It just got loose over that bump, and when it snaps here, you know, it's very hard to recover. It snapped very quickly. Huge hit. Huge
Watch
hit.
this.
And listen.
Outside, clear.
Good to see you come out of the medical center. First, are you okay? That was a big hit.
Yeah, just, it's rung my bell a bit then. That hurt. Probably shouldn't have been out there with a damaged car, I think. Shit, man, that's not good. And it caught me out. And, once again, we screwed ourselves in the pits like we always do. We just got to stop that.
We've got to...
KV Racing Technology, 2nd, 3rd, and 15th, Lindy.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of radio chatter between TK talking about Takuma Sato. Listen to this.
He's chopping me off every time. I'm not going to pass him. Tell him to take care of me. This is the second time. 10-4 TK, I just relayed the information to Jimmy and told him to knock it off. It's one more, and he's going to learn a lesson that he will never forget.
Oh. That's some great team chemistry right there, huh? You know what was very surprising to me was how they gave each other room going into turn 3 on that first lap. I was expecting...
Whoa! Just as you were saying.
Turning Kanaan. Oh, and he's got damage. He's got damage.
Briscoe and Kanaan come together, and there is Tony Kanaan as the first yellow comes out. First full course caution.
Boy, it almost looked like Briscoe when he took off and kind of pushed into Tony Kanaan.
Late contact.
It's pretty close, guys. They didn't give each other very much room. Briscoe's, just had to turn out because of a little bit of oversteer. That kind of pulled him away from the wall and caught him.
And I agree. Look, Tony Kanaan leaves it open. Tony Kanaan knows that he's there. Tony gives him room, but just as you both said, that front gives up, gets right into him, and Tony's got to be thinking, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I gave you the inside line. You still punted me into the tires.
Certainly, he took some damage there, but the real damage came from Tony Kanaan. Significant damage as we watch again here, and there's a look at Kanaan's car on the hook out of this race early after the contact, and Tony not real pleased, so we have a real good idea now of where he thinks the fault lies in this incident.
There's no question about that. I mean, he's got a reason to be angry. When he left plenty of room, like Gon said earlier, and it's kind of like one of those deals where when you leave that much room and you still get hit, you just shake your head and go, what are you thinking about?
Why did I leave the room at all?
Yeah.
I should have chopped him.
With, I'm sure, a very disappointed Tony Kanaan.
Extremely disappointed. Talking about Saavedra had a top 10 car. You thought you had a top 10 car, I'm sure, after passing 4 cars in that first lap.
It was so stupid. I mean, he had plenty of room. I don't know what he did, but right in the beginning of the race, I mean, why you want to do that? I mean, plenty of room to pass, and I guess when your teammate's winning a lot and you're not, you feel under pressure, so he took it on me.
And you told us here on our Versus set, 2 veteran drivers and part of the drivers committee, Tony Kanaan and Justin Wilson. Let's start with you, TK. How, from a driver's perspective, would you describe that race at Toronto?
Race? What race? You're talking about the crash fest, right? I mean, like I said, I think we should all go back to driving school because it was embarrassing.
Justin, Tony, it's certainly entertaining from a fan standpoint, but from a driver's perspective, how do you feel about this approach that allows for more aggressive driving?
Oh, we don't agree, but you know, like I said, they leave up to us to decide, and then when you leave up to us, that's what the decisions that we make. In my opinion, it should be like on the road. If you get hit from behind, it's the guy behind you's fault. So this is it's a touchy point. We don't know what to do right now.
All right, John.
As the rest of the field comes through now, turn number 3, where the incident involving Danica Patrick and Takuma Sato took place.
As a tire going down, she will make it to pit lane. Let's see. So she goes to the inside of Sato. That is turn 1. And the incident, of course, was in turn 3. So it looks like Sato may try to get that position back. Oh, no. He just gets into the back of her.
Well, it almost looked like he was going to go to her left, and she was kind of going to the left. It looked like they were kind of aiming for the same spot of the track. I think it took him off guard.
Welcome back to lap 13 of the Honda Indy Toronto. And just a few laps ago, when Danica Patrick came into the pits and went to exit her pits, she gave the old thumbs up, good try to Takuma Sato, who she got in a fracas with just a moment ago. So no, it wasn't the number 1 finger, but it wasn't a good job either, Bob.
Well, as Paul Tracy indicated in our pre-race show, there's probably going to be lots of hand gestures used in this race this afternoon. Now, this was in the morning warm-up, and a bit of an on-track skirmish between Hinchcliffe and Tracy also that we showed you in our pre-race show, and a little bit of hand gesture there by James Hinchcliffe.
Almost lost it when he took his hand off to wave at him.
Here comes Dario.
Oh, those are unbelievable! The championship contenders.
And Power gets the worst of it.
Oh, that was not Power's fault.
Wow.
And he stalled. He
Yep.
needs to be restarted.
Full course caution.
Yeah.
He got a wheel under him, and
wow.
Very similar to the Kanaan situation.
Guys, can I give you my take on this? And you're going to say, what are you thinking? Dario has huge respect for Will Power and vice versa. And it almost looked like Dario was going to have a go and then kind of backed out. And, and because of that, you know, indecision, they just touched. I don't think it was anything malicious. It was just one of those things.
Well, let's take a closer look. This is very similar to what we saw between Briscoe. In fact, he's nowhere close, though. See, Power
almost exactly the same.
Yeah, but Power didn't give him room because, you know, Franchitti was far enough back to where he's thinking, okay, well, he's at this point, okay, I'm clear. I can go to the apex.
Guys, and you can see he was looking in his mirror for Dario.
Yeah.
You know, you see his head just turns, you know, more to the right, and he obviously, like you say, didn't give quite enough room.
I definitely don't fault Power in that one. I don't think it was malicious, but definitely Franchitti turned him around.
EJ Viso is third, followed by Justin Wilson and Franchitti, but Franchitti will be given a drive-through penalty. Kevin.
Chip, what did you make of the call against Dario?
Sorry?
What did you make of the call against Dario? He's going to have to do a drive-through.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of odd. I mean, the guy opens the door, and then he closes the door. I don't know, and then we get blamed for it. I don't know if I understand that call or not.
Okay, we're seeing a replay again.
Honda Indy Toronto, it's getting back to what it used to be.
Again, late contact coming almost out of the corner after the apex, but Will Power gets spun around, and that caused the full course caution.
Guys, and I'm not seeing Dario pit yet, so I wonder if Chip Ganassi is arguing that decision.
Well, they give you a few laps, but he's not going to win that battle.
We have yet to see Dario serve his penalty that we were told about.
You're better off serving it early. You don't want to wait. You want to get it done so you have time to catch back up.
He has moved to third on the racetrack, ahead of his teammate Scott Dixon.
They won't let him carry on forever. They will at some point say they're going to stop scoring you, so they'll press the issue.
He's just trying to get as many laps under his belt. You're absolutely right, to try and spread the field.
Well, now we hear from race control that they have changed their mind, and Dario will not have to serve the penalty.
Oh man, Bob, I'm telling you, the Chip Ganassi I know is that's the one thing you got to respect about. He'll do everything he can to defend his driver, and he's won this battle.
You can't make that call and then unmake it.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta choose your side of the line and stay there.
Yeah, I'm sure Penske's probably scratching his head. What, like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well, Will, first take us through the contact with Dario. What's your perspective on that? He was penalized originally, what we were told. Now no penalty.
Well, it doesn't surprise me he didn't get a penalty because he never gets penalized. It's pretty typical, pretty dirty move. Drove, bam, just turns me around. Ah, man, that guy. Does anyone ever penalize this guy? Dirty as you like. I left the inside open under brakes. I turned, my guys did a great pit stop, got me out in front. And yeah, man, really disappointed in Dario. I always race him clean, and he always races me dirty. He did the same at St. Pete, drove me into the wall. I didn't say anything. He did it again today. But yeah, disappointed in Dario, the guy that mouths off about everyone and whinges about everyone, and he's a guy who races the most dirty, never gets a penalty from IndyCar. It's just not right.
A very frustrated and very pointed Will Power.
There's a driver that's pretty much fed up.
Yeah.
Right there is Will Power.
That's another win on the record books for this team. This one not without some controversy. First, let's talk about the reversal of that penalty. What did you say to make that happen?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
the reversal of the penalty with Dario.
I didn't know there was a penalty until someone from television came up and said something to me. I didn't hear anything about it.
Will's not very happy about it, says Dario basically always gets what he wants.
Yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate. I mean, that's not the way we wanted to win. And, it looked to me at one point that Will opened the door and then closed it. Unfortunately, I wasn't driving the car.
So which one?
Franchitti and Power.
Between Franchitti and Power, there was never a penalized issued to either driver. Being Franchitti. Franchitti was underneath Will, and there was no penalty assessed to him based on what we had saw earlier at the beginning of the race between Tony Kanaan and Briscoe. They were too far around the corner, and if the drivers would have just given each other a little bit more room, we're talking a foot here, we wouldn't have had the incident. Okay?
And here it is, Al.
This is just, he's trying to close the door. The 12 car knows that the 10 car is there. We could go back earlier at the beginning of the race and look at Tony Kanaan and Ryan Briscoe, and the same thing was there. If Tony would have given him just a little bit more room. There's another example at the end of the race.
Obviously, there was contact with Will, which, if he's pissed off, he's quite right to be pissed off there. That is, he braked late. I was going for it on the inside. I hadn't hesitated.
he braked really late. I thought, man, that's pretty impressive. But he went wide because of that. So I saw a gap, went down the inside, and he came down and closed the door. So just as the wall was coming out, so I made contact with him, and I'm sorry for that. That's not the way I want to race.
Yeah, he was very angry, very pointed in his criticism. So in hindsight, you would have not pressed the issue there. And here's a look at it.
No, as you can see, he's out there and he's left me a lane, and then he comes down. You know, the wall's coming out, he's coming down a bit, and you know, ultimately I'll take more than 50% of the blame on that one. I think he's got some of the blame too. But if you look how wide he is here, and then I'm down the inside now, not all the way, but he keeps coming down. You know, I'm hugging the wall there, and he just keeps coming down. So. You know, as I say, that's not the way I want to race, and I'll definitely talk to him about that because, you know, if he is pissed off, I see it as a racing incident, but I will take certainly at least my 50% of the blame in that one.
There was a lot of confusion about whether there was a penalty or not. At one point, we were hearing that you were going to be given a penalty. Did you ever have any concern about that during the race?
Well, you worry about it. You know, what is avoidable contact? There's no doubt what is avoidable contact, and you know, it was happening all day though. And I have to say, I ran through that hairpin side by side with guys on the inside and the outside all day long, and you know, Will didn't give me room. So that was, I suppose ultimately that's it. If I was going to be completely, you know, if I wouldn't have made the move at all, but then if you're not going to make any moves at all, you're going to sit in whatever position you start in. So, but yeah, crazy day here in Toronto. Big day for us though.
They voiced their opinion to us after the race. They then went to communicating with each other via Twitter, which is this generation's version of communication. I like the princess comment there. I'm not sure how Dario felt about that. Franchitti wanted to talk. Will wasn't really interested at that point. Let's find out and let's hear from the two drivers directly. Let's check in now with Robbie Floyd.
Well, now that you've had a couple of weeks since you had that quote there on tweet with Princess Dario, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's done, man. It's done, and you know, moving on. We actually made eye contact today, and there's a bit of a smile. So, but yeah, you know, that's racing. It was obviously a bad weekend for us and a great weekend for him, but you know, we're back in the game here.
Let's take a look at it again. Maybe we can see who had contact with Will.
Going up the inside.
Yeah, that's Tagliani. Alex Tagliani.
Yep. And Ryan Briscoe was right behind.
Now Tagliani was laps down though, right?
No.
No, he got that back?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, remember he got it back on that caution.
All right.
He passed.
Yeah, it's Alex Tagliani.
Yeah.
So that would have been for position.
Did you come together with Tagliani at one point as well?
Yeah, I think Tag hit me. Pretty typical for him. He's always a bit of a wanker, so he took me out completely that time. So not good for the Verizon car. Man, 2 races in a row, we're out.
And Alex, we saw what just happened with you. It's been crazy racing out there. We also saw the incident with Will, and you guys, did you talk afterwards? What'd you say?
Yeah, I'm sure Will is pretty upset, but I was on reds. Will was on blacks. It seems that not being able to pass Danica, and I tried to pass him a couple of times on the inside of turn 3, outside of turn 3, and when I was on the outside of turn 3 of him, he pushed me up wide, almost hit the wall. So. Give him plenty of room, and when I decided to go because he was slowing me down, I went in turn 5, and yeah, it was tight, but I was beside him, so we touch, and when wheels touch in IndyCar, everything goes up in the air.
And as we go back to green, Will said on our air he was not happy with you. Did he express that to you?
Dixon takes. I'm sure he's unhappy, but I was unhappy as well.
And a big hit in the points, of course. Right now, he is 45 behind Dario as the race resumes. And caution.
Not exactly.
Yeah, no start again.
Man.
I think they want these guys to get double file.
Yeah. They'll take their positions for the restart here, 2 abreast. Or will they?
Yeah.
No start.
Well, that's handy. Oh, good. I get another lap of yellow.
There you go.
Hey, Bob, you got a moment here. I want to talk to Michael. Michael, you're very upset with those restarts.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, you know, they're obviously doing it on purpose so he gets there on fuel. And, you know, one time, okay, twice, you're in the back. And, They're letting them have it. I mean, it's unfair. I know they're trying to say that they're not getting lined up, but it's all Ganassi cars not getting lined up.
And he was disappointed because he had enough fuel, and he knows Ryan Hunter-Reay and Graham Rahal might not have enough, but he's the leader. He sets the pace, but just not enough pace.
You don't think this stuff's competitive, do you?
Oh,
wow. You guys are, lots of emotions right here.
We're going to go side by side with Dario all the way to the S's. We're going to go green this time by.
And I'll tell you, those emotions are warranted. I think that Power has good reason to be upset, and I think that Michael Andretti does too. These guys are messing around.
Right. Now we go.
Well, kind of.
At least 2 abreast up front.
They may send somebody to the back. Are they through it?
Dario was getting caught in the marbles, I think.
And look at Dixon.
Another thing I have to ask you about, Michael Andretti said he thought the Ganassi cars were not lining up on purpose there at the end to get some more time in the yellow.
Yeah, no, that was not the case at all. I'm sorry that people felt that way. There were some marbles on the outside of turn 11, and the 38 car was not letting us get up there. I had to go over and talk to the 38 car and explain that to them.
What'd they say?
They said, okay, we'll let you up alongside of us.
Chip Ganassi being very candid with us today, Bob.
Well, it's smooth sailing for that boat at the Honda Indy Toronto, and it has not been smooth sailing for the number 7 of Danica Patrick in a couple of crashes today, and finally out of the car from that last crash. And George Close talking to her for just a moment. A broken wing. I think Michael wanted you to get back in the car with maybe Marco's front wing.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's the end of the race, and they told me to get out of the car, and that was that. So, I was 2 laps down anyway, and now I don't know what I'm down, but nobody gave me a second front wing. Somebody took mine, so I don't know what the deal is. It was a tough day anyway, and it piles up so bad at the hairpin there, and everybody's just running the inside, and it's just, it's unfortunately the line is so much further to the inside nowadays for the bumps that it's making it really easy to defend, so it's just causing pile-ups.
Disappointing day for Danica Patrick, and they are putting Marco's wing on, and I think they're going to try and still get her back in the car, Kevin.
Lee Orbaugh is calling the race.
Well, we've got 10 laps to go here at Toronto, and there is Danica Patrick. She was out of the car, but now is putting the gloves and the helmet back on, and she will return to competition, showing in 22nd position.
That's no fun.
No.
When you're that far down.
Right. And Rahal's going to have to move over. Here comes Dixon.
And
he'll take second and run.
Not again.
Rahal. Wow.
Calamity corner here.
Man, oh man.
Rahal's still running, but he's got to wait for the whole field to get by.
Wow, a second place finish or maybe a third place finish goes by the wayside for Graham Rahal. No caution, we're still racing, and it's Franchitti and Dixon up front.
Oh, man.
So much contact out there today. Ryan Hunter-Reay had contact with Graham. Was there a bad move there, or is this just a product of Toronto?
Well, unfortunately, it's a bit of product of Toronto. I feel really bad for Graham on that. When Dixon went by him, Graham kind of chopped him on the straight, and Dixon went by him and really ran him wide in the corner and into turn 3. There was a football field worth of real estate there, and I went for it, and then Graham came straight across. So I'm not going to blame it on him, and I certainly deliberately did not do that. That was just part of Toronto. As you can see, what we had out here today was a little bit of a crash fest, unfortunately, but I hope the fans enjoyed it, and I'm just really happy to get DHL, Circle K, and Sundrop on the podium. It was a hard-fought day. It wasn't a straightforward podium, that's for sure.
With Graham Rahal very disappointed, turned a top 3 finish into a 13th there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, just got hit, I'm really ticked, and I'm trying to control my emotions, but, the Service Central boys did a great job. We were off strategy. I was having to save a lot of fuel. At the same time, trying to race my teammates hard but clean, and quite frankly, I was running on 40-lap old tires, so it was really frustrating. I mean, it's, you can see it right there. That's not even close. I mean, his front tire's not even in front of me. It's, it's funny, though, because that's not like Hunter-Reay, but I guess some people strap on their helmet and lose their brain.
Ryan Hunter-Reay had an on-track skirmish, shall we say, yesterday with Oriol Servia during qualifying. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, he felt Servia was blocking him or should have got out of the way while Hunter-Reay was on a hot lap right at the end of qualifying. He got in front of Servia and then brake checked him. And they had a few words.
Much of the conflict comes from drivers trying to figure out who's at fault when someone's trying to overtake. How do you understand where the liability rests for a driver trying to pass?
Well, right now, I don't think we do understand. I think that's the problem, is the rules state that the leading car has to leave the door open, but we haven't got a rule yet to decide how far alongside you deserve a lane. And I think that's something that's got to come, otherwise we'll keep having these accidents the way we are.
Back at Edmonton, where the mess is being cleaned up, Paul Tracy and Graham Rahal's cars are pretty well damaged, enough certainly to knock them out of contention here in the early going. As you saw on non-stop, Marco Andretti also stopped on course, or stalled, but he is going again.
Now watch Alex Tagliani, black and white car, coming up to the far right of the screen, passes 4 cars, then right into the back of Graham Rahal. And Wally, when we had the Open, you said, if I'm going to the supermarket and I get hit from behind by you, that's your fault.
I mean, clearly that's Tagliani's fault. You know, he caused that accident. Here's a great shot. He goes down to the inside, and he just clobbers Graham. And, you know, cuts a tire, and then worse things happen following that. Now, you can see Tagliani's got a lot of damage on his right front wing that he's going to have to come in. They'll change that nose. But watch, here comes Rahal back on the track. That's when he collected Paul Tracy. But it ended, you know, Tagliani's mistake completely ended Rahal's day, and for that matter, Paul Tracy's day.
Graham Rahal making that point to Alex.
Under caution at Edmonton, where Takuma Sato leads. We've already had one significant contact, and the result of that is Graham Rahal is out of the race. Tagliani got you from behind. What do you feel about this?
I mean, what do you say? This is 2 races in a row for the Service Central team, and I'm frustrated because our car was really good in warm-up. We had improved it a lot, and these are the types of things IndyCar's got to call. I mean, it's not even close. You know, in a corner where you can barely fit 2 wide, we're 2 wide. I'm inside Hinchcliffe. He runs square into the back of me. I mean, what do you say? Look at that. I mean, it's not even. I don't know.
I'm told he has been given a black flag. Doesn't help you right now.
No, I mean, we're out of the race, and you know, we knew this was going to be a good race for us to gain some points, and instead we're sitting on the sidelines. I'm just really disappointed for the Service Central guys. I really thought we'd have a good race. I had a great feeling about it, and you know, we felt like we could gain a lot of points. We should be 5th in points right now. Instead, we're probably going to end up somewhere outside the top 10. So, really, really frustrating.
Okay, thanks, Graham. We're about to go green.
Let's see if we can.
It's one of the Penske cars that all of a sudden dives.
See how far ahead Tagliani is?
Yeah. And you'll see Castroneves and also Ryan Hunter-Ray all of a sudden turn left.
Well, they had to.
Right.
They were gonna clobber Briscoe.
We want to, you know, you want to stay with them, and then they called it off.
From Briscoe's perspective.
Wow. Hey, Viso. What are you doing?
And race control has also told Mike Conway to set the pace for the restart. He kind of laid back there on that.
Well, wait a minute. We got to get to 5. This is where we've seen a lot of action.
Yeah, there we go. There you go again. Viso.
Yeah.
Viso into Dixon.
That was bound to happen.
Yeah.
Conway's off too on the outside.
Everybody gets through 1 so clean, and then they get down to 5 and unplug their brains.
It's it's so hard to explain. I mean, it's just there's such a lack of respect, it seems.
But isn't it too, Graham, though? I mean, it's funny. You sit in the drivers' meetings, like, give each other room, give each other respect. But if you see an opportunity to take, you know, a couple of positions here, guys are going to do it. I don't care.
Okay, now if we can stop it right here for a second. I want to highlight something before Dario. Can we stop here? Well, just keep an eye on Dario Franchitti. That was an amazing piece of driving for him to not make contact while you see E.J. Viso. And on the outside of the racetrack, watch Mike Conway. He goes off on the exit.
This is Will Power.
Edmonton. There you see Scott Dixon. His crew is replacing the radiator. He said it was hot in the seat, and he feels a lot better now. But the big conversation, listening to their radio here over the last couple of minutes, he's obviously quite peeved at EJ Viso. I'm not 100% certain of this, so I have to clarify this statement. But he asked who hit me. He was told EJ Viso. It sounded to me like he said, get me back out there. I want to take him out. He was then later told that Viso is not going to be black flagged because he essentially served the penalty himself through coming in because of the damage. And then there was a conversation with Dixon and Mike Hull talking about it's not right that the person that causes the contact and the damage can finish ahead of the person that suffered the damage.
And so the controversy continues.
I agree with that. I mean, but it's hard. It's a hard call, obviously.
Dixon, he's the managing director. All right, your view of that incident. I've heard on the radio what Scott thinks about it.
Well, you know, it's a shame to have a really good car. You know, Scott's car's been a great car all weekend. And to be taken out by somebody that could have used a little more discretion early in the race is difficult to swallow.
Do you have concerns about retribution from your driver that could damage your race car again?
Well, I mean, our guys worked hard to fix the car. That's what we do. We'll just keep racing. And, you know, racing is a funny business. What goes around comes around.
All right, Mike Hull, target Chip Ganassi on the stand for Scott Dixon.
Scott
Dixon was maybe an innocent bystander of what happened. You finished 23rd, 6 laps back after the contact with Viso. I was listening to your radio. It sounded like you said, get me back out there. I'm going to take him out. Did I misunderstand that?
No, I think it was right. You know, at that point, I was definitely going to take him out. But obviously, once we got through the race, it cooled off a little bit. You know, you get sick and tired of people doing bonehead moves. And the car that, you know, I saw it coming in the mirror, but I had nowhere to go. But coming from 6 cars back and taking out somebody, I don't know if he was looking at somebody in the stands or something, not really paying attention, but, you know, it ruined a good day for our car. We had a great car. I think we had a car that you know, had the possibility to win as long as everything went right. But, you know, unfortunately, it's just kind of been the way our season goes this year. You know, we've been qualifying well, we've been up the front and had good cars, but it just hasn't been going our way.
And more the spot. And I'll tell you what, Hunter Ray is going to take a look here.
Oh, no! What was going on? There was no way that was on.
Yeah.
You could see that coming a mile away. He thought about it, and then you think, okay, abort.
That's the same thing he did at Briscoe and Barber.
It looked like he took his foot off the brake to try and get into position when you should have been pushing the brake to get out of position.
Wow. So Sato, the pole sitter and the guy who led 18 laps in this race, is stopped on the race course after contact from Ryan Hunter-Reay. Here it is.
See, right here, he's thinking, oh, I'm not going to be able to make the pass, and then changes his mind. I mean, there's no way, Wally, that he's even close.
And as we talked in the opening, that's front tire to rear tire. That, in my opinion, he should be serving a penalty for that. Unfortunately, you know, Sato is back in 19th spot now. And, I mean, you know, you just eliminated a guy from a possible win.
Jimmy Vasser is not unhappy talking to race officials.
That's a shame right there.
Yep, it sure is. So the Homatro safety team is out. They will get Sato refired, not under a full course caution, local caution only in turn 5.
So he's going a lap down right now. There'll be no passing in here because that's going to be a caution area.
How frustrating is that? Just sit there and watch all those guys go by. You were just in front of.
Wow.
That wasn't your fault.
Comes out just ahead of Vitor Mira.
Tagliani is under attack. Castroneves right there. Hunter Ray and Briscoe. And if we call the wrong yellow car, it could happen.
Let's get down to Kevin.
Mike Hull calls the race for
42 laps completed here at Edmonton, Alberta. And we saw Ryan Hunter-Reay get a drive-through penalty, and he has, as a result, fallen back to 13th position. Given a drive-through penalty because of contact with Sato, and Sato is currently on pit lane, getting the stop and moving back out. Dario in the lead. Oh, and Graham Rahal is sideways. Will that bring out a full course caution?
When you're sitting there watching everybody go around and past you and nobody's coming to get you started, it is very frustrating.
The only happy person about this is James Hinchcliffe.
And let's see what happened.
Oh,
Danica
contact.
Patrick.
Yeah, that was a lot of rubbing. That wasn't a bump.
At Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, 66 out of 85 laps are completed. We're watching this battle on the racetrack, not for position. Danica Patrick is ahead of Graham Rahal. And remember, there was contact between the two earlier that sent Graham off course. Now, how about a payback? Well, we listen to Graham Rahal's radio.
Graham, I know what you're going to be thinking once you get close to the 7 car here, but just use your head now. It's not going to be worth any penalties or any aggravation here. You can deal with it afterwards. Don't use the car.
And my response would be, I'm sorry, the radios are not working. You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Yeah,
Try it again.
Kevin used that in the pre-race, you know? And when he was supposed to do the dance, he pulled that trick.
James Jake.
Probably made some change in that pit stop we had.
Trouble. The 82 of Tony Kanaan, the 22 of Thomas Scheckter, a big contact. And Tony is on his lid.
Okay, Tony? Yeah.
He is okay. We also have a car up into the wall in turn number 4. Get a number for you on that as soon as we can. I believe it's the 26. It is. So there is Marco Andretti with heavy damage on his right front suspension. So we just go back to green flag racing. And our 4th caution is the worst of the bunch. Home Ultra safety crew trying to get the car up high enough that Tony can get out. You heard him say he is okay. Let's take one more look at this.
Just no place for the 26 machine of Marco Andretti to go, because on the high side, the 22, as we mentioned, of Thomas Scheckter. Low side, the 82 of Tony Kanaan. They both go through the grass. Unfortunately, Tony gets the worst of that. Now, that team was supposed to go off testing next week.
Tough as nails, Tony. That was scary. What did you see?
I don't know. Got to ask Marco and Scheckter what the hell they're thinking. But I guess I was on the inside, and all of a sudden I got collected. So I don't know who hit who there, but they better have something to explain. I just think that when a car's a lap down, you shouldn't be racing the cars that are in the same lap. But glad that I'm...
And the last restart, the double foul, everybody was so clean for the entire lap, but not this time.
No, that was something that we've not seen before, obviously going in a straight line, so we'll have to catch a replay on that. And there you can see the right front tire with a lot of black around it from contact, and obviously flat for Takuma Sato.
He was in 2nd place.
And then Will Power is still on the track because it was the 4 of J.R. Hildebrand that ended up coming and hitting the inside wall. So now for Will Power, although you hate to see your competitors have a bad day, but Will's had quite a few of them, maybe he's going to start to collect some points.
You're right. It is Power still out there, and there he is. But he does have a little damage to his wing there. Rick has caught up with a very disappointed Dario Franchitti.
Disappointed and frustrated Dario. What happened?
I don't know. Takuma looks like he came up into my right rear in the middle of the straight. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why.
I mean, you had not had a problem all weekend. You had not put a wheel wrong all weekend.
And I still don't believe I put a wheel wrong. I mean, you know, I don't know why he's sitting so close coming up to the restart. I don't know. I mean, I get the jump here, and we're coming along, and he comes up. Look. I don't know what he's trying to do. It's not the first time, and it's probably not going to be the last time with him, but you know, it's when you have a car that's that fast, it's pretty devastating.
Dario Franchitti rarely at a loss for words, and frankly, watching that and feeling the frustration, he just wasn't sure what to say.
Well, Rick, I think when he gets back home and watches those races, as I know he does, because he's really a student of racing, you'll look at a seam that's in the racetrack, and I think you'll see his car start to go up towards the seam, which ends up being towards Takuma Sato. So I think when he goes back home, he'll look at that and probably change his opinion on that one.
There's your... Gary Gerald has caught up with Takuma Sato.
He's making that long walk back after an adventurous day here at this racetrack. Tell us about the frustration of being involved in an incident like you were that denies you a chance to get the win.
It was my fault. I was too close to Dario and had a debris in my eye, and there was tears, and no excuse for that. But I was too close, and he came on. I was close to them, and I'm sorry about that.
Have you chose the outside lane? Oriel Servia trying to pick up his first win for Newman-Haas Racing. Oh, a spin. And it includes willpower. Danica Patrick spins. And you see Michael Andretti, he was complaining at the beginning of this because, and there's damage to Danica's car.
The track's probably just a little bit, that mist comes down. It doesn't take much with these slicks, Marty.
And this is really going to affect willpower. Rick, let's check in. What's going on down there?
Well, I'm standing by what I will describe a very agitated Michael Andretti. You called this. You said that was going to happen out there.
Yep, and this is the worst officiating I've ever seen. Sorry, Brian, but this was bad, really bad. Well, we lost the car and we lost the lead. I mean, this is just, you don't do that. It was wetter than when they threw the yellow earlier and they threw the green. I mean, it's just...
You came down, you appealed to the officials.
I tried. It doesn't matter. Really, really disappointed. I mean, they normally Brian does a great job, but this one he really missed it.
Michael Andretti once again came down, was yelling at the officials. Ryan Hunter-Reay in the car was pleading, saying, "This is stupid. I can't even put the power down." As a result, you saw what happened.
It was an all-skate session, that's for sure, coming down the front straightaway. And because...
I'll tell you what, for a good 5 minutes before they threw the green, Willpower was yelling, "No, we cannot go." You see him frustrated. I have never heard Willpower use language like he did and scream like he did. He is going in to talk to the officials. He had a 20-point swing in the championship going. You see him try to get stopped. He's going to have a talk. He's frustrated, and they're saying the same thing. That was awful officiating. You see him very frustrated talking to Charles there. Tim Cindric is on his way back to the garage to calm his driver down.
We are going into a red flag situation, and you can see how livid Willpower is, because as of right now, he's dropped to 9th, and it could get a lot worse. So the carnage, and there is Michael and his reaction. And of course, Willpower saw him getting out of the car. Here's a replay of that as he is just beside himself.
It's frustrating. You know, he's not had the season that he wanted to. He's been so dominant at so many racetracks, had some bad luck, some bad calls. Situation at Mid-Ohio, just with an unfortunate scenario of being in the wrong place at the wrong time with the yellow.
He was at 47 points the way it was, and now it's 57 points based on where he is right now. And if this race restarts, it's going to get even worse because there's still cars that could pass him for position.
Well, you saw the frustration with him right there. Unfortunately, that gesture is probably going to cost him. He's going to be a little lighter in the pocketbook, I think, by the time the officials get finished with him on that one.
Yes, and we apologize because obviously Will doesn't realize that we're live and on the air with all that.
And what he was seeing was the big screens here in the infield.
And their shots are sometimes a lot different than ours. And we're hearing from IndyCar officials they're going to go back to the run order before the restart. I mean, let's get this clear before we put anything else out there.
We have those 5 cars up there on the lead lap, unfortunately.
Right now, you heard in the PA in the background, there are only 5 cars shown on the lead lap. There's Takuma Sato, as his team battled back after the contact with Dario Franchitti, kept him on the lead lap despite the 2 stops, and it looked like he was going to have a good run. right up until this moment.
And for a driver and a veteran of road course racing and Formula One racing, he has taken to the ovals very, very well, and would not be surprised to see him win one of these before the year's out.
And he'll be the first to tell you who's really helped him, Tony Kanaan.
Absolutely. Tony's been a big boost to that team, not only just in helping the drivers, but also in setup to get those guys up to speed. So Tony's had a big boost of not only morale, but obviously results with that team. That restart, when he and Dario got together there, he had something in his eye. Maybe that's what Dario was talking about, him just being a little bit too close to him on the restart. But can't wait to hear the outcome of that conversation between the two of those drivers.
You can see Jimmy very animated there as these guys are all frustrated.
Well, we talked about that team was going to leave. Jimmy told us this morning with all 3 cars to go off and do a test here with Tony Kanaan headed to Sebring to do some work there to get ready for the Baltimore race. And then,
what is it like being in the cockpit when you're told you have to race in conditions like that?
We were begging him. I was begging him, please do not go green. It's too slippery. And from what Tim Cindric was saying, so was everyone else. So everyone was saying it.
And you were yelling at the officials, Brian Barnhart in particular. Are you going to go talk to him, and what will you say?
There's no use. He makes such bad calls all the time. This has got to be it. They cannot have this guy running the show, because that was a decision that put a lot of drivers in danger. And, you know, you saw how many people crashed on the front straight, and it was no condition to race in. Shame on him.
Came back from a lap down. You gained 20 points on Dario. At that point, you were 5th. What was it like at that start when it went green?
It was just really slippery. You know, and Danica lost it. So I reacted and went this way, and I saw Briscoe coming, so I reacted, spun, and then I got hit by like 3 or 4 people, and that hurt too. Man, I just can't believe that they make decisions like that. I mean, what are those guys up there doing? They have Alonso. He's raced. He'd never race in these conditions. So to me, it was disgraceful.
Those officials that you were yelling at on the radio are the same ones that hand down fines and penalties. Do you think any are coming your way?
Yeah, I know that I lost my temper, and that was bad of me to do that, but I couldn't help it. I was so emotional about it. We had such a good day, and we begged them not to do it.
Big points implication here. Of course, Dario Franchitti out, but Will Power is chasing him in the standings. Marty.
Well, joining us is President of Competition for the IZOD IndyCar Series, Brian Barnhart. Brian, take us through the process of what is going to be the official results. Who's going to finish behind Ryan Hunter-Reay now?
Well, the official result will be the positioning order prior to the last attempted restart. That's going to be an aborted restart. Obviously, the track conditions were not in a position that was safe for us to run. I couldn't agree more with what Ryan said. It's a mistake on race control's part, but again, based on the information we had, we're getting reports back from the observers, from our track safety people, said there wasn't a surface change, said it was a raceable condition. Obviously, the attempted restart showed that wasn't the case. So it was a mistake on race control's part, and the only right thing to do and the fair thing to do is go back to the running order prior to that restart, because we ended up tearing up some race cars we shouldn't have.
Okay, that's obviously going to make Will Power feel better, but before he knew this, obviously he's a hot under the collar. Will there be any ramifications, because these guys were venting before they knew that you were going to change this result and go back to that?
Well, I mean, we haven't even looked at that yet, Marty. Obviously, it's we're trying to make sure we're doing the right thing here based on the conditions of the finish of this race. And when you look at what these guys are dealing with out there, with their lives and safety on the line out there, their emotions and adrenaline's going to run hard. So we'll take a look at that after the fact, but that's secondary compared to doing the right thing for the finishing order.
And Brian, were you getting reports from the drivers up to your head control there to get into the track?
No, and that's the hard part about it. I know a lot of them are saying, but we didn't have a single pit tech call and say that we couldn't go because they were radioing in. Obviously, up top on the spotter stand, we knew there was light moisture on the racetrack, but we were counting on at that point in time the observers around the racetrack and our track safety, and they said there was no surface change and it's good to go. And race control, we can only make the decisions based on the information that's provided to us. Clearly, in this case, it was not good information, not accurate, and wasn't the right thing to do.
And I know from running underneath you, you are all about safety. So it sounds like if you had got that information from the driver, drivers that were in the cockpit, then you would have made a different
Yeah,
decision.
absolutely. We'd have never tried that, and that was so obvious as soon as you called it. I mean, it's almost one thing if one driver might have spun wheels or had it might not, but when three of them go that quick, it's pretty obvious it was a wrong call.
Well, Brian, thank you for taking the time and explaining that, and I think that it helps ease a lot of questions that were cropping up, obviously, during the red flag period. I'm going to throw a curveball because I don't have communication directly to the truck. Do we have the results? And thank you, guys. Here is what we have, and there is what it will be. Now, Oriole Servia will finish second, Scott Dixon third, James Hinchcliffe, Will Power, then Danica Patrick, Takuma Sato seventh, Ryan Briscoe eighth, Charlie Kimball ninth, and Vitor Mirror in the 10th position. So that is going to tighten up the points position, as that will make it a 47-point difference. And that wraps up today's action. We'll be back in action in Las Vegas for the season finale October 16th at 3 o'clock on ABC. Coming up next, it's ABC World News or your local news. Thanks for watching ABC or ESPN on ABC. I'm Marty Reed for our entire ESPN crew. Till we meet again.
Now, in addition to all that, on Thursday, Will Power was fined $30,000 and placed on probation for the rest of the season because of the gesture he made to race control.
You're an emotional driver. We saw that at New Hampshire, obviously. But you're also an aggressive driver, but you're also a driver now on probation. Does that change the probation, the way you race other guys?
Well, I'm not sure that I'm on probation on the track. I think it's off the track. So,
are you sure about that? I wouldn't chance it.
Well, you know, I'm going to race our race, and you know, I'm usually very clean, so it is what it is. Hey, man, you know, we're going for a championship.
All right, and don't expect any lack of aggression from Will Power here, trying to win it in Infineon today. The guys.
I want to make it very clear. I'm 100% supportive of Brian Barnhart and his team. And I think that at the end of this season, we will reevaluate the rule book. I want to make sure that the rules in that rule book are what fans, the team owners, drivers want to see. And safety, of course, is a very important part of that.
That's yesterday here at Infineon Raceway, and the IndyCar CEO, Randy Bernard, joins us here on our set, along with our IndyCar insider, Robin Miller. Plenty to talk about. Let's talk about that clip there. You said you're 100% committed to Brian Barnhart. There's been a lot of conversation. Does that commitment extend to next season as well?
Right now we're worried about this year, but yes, right now I am 100% committed to Brian Barnhart and race control. Brian did admit he made a mistake. That's much better than him trying to hide it. Let's get it out, let's clean it up, and go on. I think that we all know that there's some rules that need to be changed, and we'll look at that for next year, but we are going to stay focused on exactly what our plan is, and Brian's a part of that.
What are you hearing from teams?
You know, I've had some teams come to me and say they want Brian to stay and don't give in on this. And I think it's important, you know, everyone that tells me they want to see Brian gone, I want to clarify one thing that, you know, when Donald Trump was going to be the Grand Marshal of the Indy 500, Facebook had 17,000 people sign up to get him fired. They did the same thing with Brian. They only had 308 responses. I think that shows you a little bit. I think what people want to see is they want to see a clean race, and they want to see you know, us do our job, and I think that's what you're going to see. The other thing I want to point out really quick is transparency. We think it's very important to show the transparency of race control, and what we're going to do next week, starting next week, is if you have the IZOD IndyCar app from Verizon, you will be able to watch race control live.
Robin,
Randy,
I'm guessing you have thoughts.
Here's the thing. He admitted his mistake after he threw Johnny Rutherford and the pit stewards under the bus, but the whole thing is he's become a bigger story than the drivers in the races. And I've been on your butt since I met you. Get rid of him, get him out of race control. I understand why he did in his first year because you're learning the series. But when your chief steward is a bigger story than your drivers and he's not consistent, you got a problem.
Yeah, no, and we've admitted that there was a problem last week. I think that, you know, to me,
that's the way I got to say.
It's not just IndyCar that there's been mistakes made by referees or chief stewards. I mean, I can show you every form of motorsports, and even on this call, I think you can go back and look at it. There's been calls similar to this call made in other genres of motorsports. So I think that, you know, what we have to do is continue to work for what the ultimate job is, and that is promoting our sport and making sure that it's as clean and great racing. And I think that starts with the rule book.
But it also starts with how you interpret the rule book and the way he interprets it. And when the drivers don't trust the guy that's the chief steward, and they don't feel there's any consistency, it's time to make a change. And I think if you took a vote with the drivers, they'd all say, we need a change, and there are some qualified people out there.
Well, I won't disagree with that, but what I would say is I think that the drivers, their job is to race and to go and do what they're paid to do, and that's race. And our job is to put who we think is in charge and to give them rules that they can race to, and I think that's what we're going to do.
All right. Oriole Servia's team, Newman-Haas Racing and Target Chip Ganassi Racing, appealed the decision. It was heard by a 3-judge panel in Indianapolis on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, the verdict came down. And it essentially said that, first of all, Brian Barnhart had the authority to render the decision that was made, and the panel agreed that his decision to abort the restart and set the final finishing positions according to how they were running before the attempted restart was indeed the right decision.
Well, I have the guy who also thinks he's the New Hampshire winner, and just as Ryan said, there wasn't much celebrating for him either, so you were on pins and needles all week. Now, this weekend so far, you've had a sticker on your steering wheel that basically says, I'm the winner. How do you move on from all that with that right in your face?
Well, we did move on. I mean, we had a great weekend. We had a lot of fun. As my engineer put it, he said it first. Best. We finished the race first. We just didn't win somehow, but anyway, we had a great weekend, and we're looking forward to continue that strike.
Now you're
and Giorgio Pantano has been penalized to the last car in the lead, lap 17th, because of this.
He went up the inside, which is something you commonly do in Europe. You cannot do in the IndyCar Series. Because he couldn't serve a drive-through, they moved him to the back of the lead lap. Kevin?
And I told Giorgio of this news when I walked up. All smiles, a 6th place finish, and you're seeing this for the first time. What are you seeing? What are you thinking?
To be honest, I can't believe, because I was just inside on the entry and on the same line on the exit. I don't know, I need to go to speak with the marshal, because to be honest, you just come to tell me, and I can't believe that.
Well, regardless of how this works out, and I'm sure you're going to check into it, it's still a fantastic run.
It's a normal way I'm doing. I didn't do anything. I didn't went wide or something like that. I think I just take my place. That's it.
All right, Giorgio Pantano. Let's go to Marty.
Well, Sebastian, yeah, he finishes 6th. So your take on the contact, was it a fair ruling?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we're not in Europe, and the rule's very straightforward. You know, you cannot change the racing line. He braked on the inside of the last corner and pushed me over the rumble strips when I tried to go on the outside. So I think it was a heck of a battle, but I'm glad we came out on top of it.
There you go. He winds up finishing 6th. Like you said, Jan, we're not in Europe. We're racing in the U.S.
And Marty, of course, Sebastian Bourdais has raced a lot in Europe with people like Pantano, and he has to change his driving style. When he comes Pantano, this is his first experience.
Brian Hunter's got a good car. Yeah.
Oh, and he take a look at the inside. Oh,
Briscoe hits him.
Oh, now he gets clobbered more. Now there's a traffic jam.
Yeah. There's
not good.
There's an inside lane open.
Are they paying a toll?
Oh, man, this is not a laughing matter to many of these guys, but this is what we feared would happen at the start of the race. But they waited until this full course caution. This melee.
Well, we're riding on the car that made the contact. Oh, what's he doing? It was like he was on the left and then decided at the last moment to poke his nose in there.
The numbers show that Ryan Briscoe finished 14th. The car way better than that. Obviously, the penalty early in the race, Ryan, or at that restart there. Your take on that? Was it a fair penalty?
I don't think the penalty fits the crime, but pretty dejected feeling at the moment. But you know, we had a great car.
You haven't seen it yet. Here it is.
But you know, we were going down into turn 3, and Hunter was blocking me, and then he opened it back up. But I was just coming in a bit hot because I had open track when he blocked, so I was going to come down on his outside, and then he came back to my line of the track, and you know, so I hit his rear wheel. It wasn't intentional, but it wouldn't have happened if he didn't block me and then change lanes twice and come back to the outside. So disappointing. I'm sorry about the pile-up that it caused as well behind, but tough track, you know, really physical out there today. The car was strong, and just disappointed about the result, but my head's already in next year's car, to tell you the truth.
You really don't think, though, that penalties should be based off what maybe happened between you two earlier in the year, do you?
What, when you ran up my backside? I mean, you don't dish out penalties based on grudges, that's for sure. Obviously, they would have given the penalty to me based upon what they thought happened in the race, and my front did hit his rear, but it was circumstantial. It's a tough penalty, you know. It's a really tough penalty. It ruined our race, but I'm not in the fight for the championship, and penalties are more freely given out to guys that aren't really running for the championship, so we'll take it.
All right, there's Ryan Briscoe's take. He felt like there was a little blocking before that incident. Kevin, what's Ryan Hunter-Reay say?
Yeah, let's hear the other side of the story. Ryan Briscoe says that you may have been blocking a little bit going into that corner, and he doesn't really think a penalty was needed there. What say you?
Well, if he watches the replay, he'll see that there's completely a lane in there. I have a car in front of me, Dario, and I'm going to show him my nose, and Briscoe just took me out, you know. I think I owe him that's why they call him Briscoe thing from earlier in the year, but it's a shame. We had a good run going. Yeah, as you can see, there's more than two car widths inside. If that's blocking, I don't know. So yeah, he dumped me, and we just fought back to an eighth. Guys had to change the suspension for it, but it did a great job, you know. The guys did a great job. We ran around past quite a few cars and finished the day eighth. We could have finished further up there, but it's unfortunate. But you know, what are you going to do? Go on to Motegi. We had a great time here in Baltimore. Hopefully, we'll be back here many years to come. Get rid of that chicane. We'll have a whole lot more passing, I think.
To say Graham Rahal is disappointed is an understatement. He's been shaking his head since he got out of the car. Graham, how did this one slip away?
Just just the strategy, which wasn't our fault. The officiating was terrible, if you ask me, in the sense.
Why?
In the sense that, why did we stay yellow for so long? There was no reason. There's no cars on the track, nothing wrong, until the oil. But we didn't need to stay yellow for 10 laps. And quite frankly, they're sitting there saying that, you know, they're trying to sort out where the 27 belongs, and line needs 3 laps down. I mean, you know, Barnhart said in the driver's meeting he wasn't going to wait to figure that out. Well, I mean, honestly, that's what hurt us, because we needed about 10, 12 laps of hard running to pull that gap. And unfortunately, you know, we just didn't get that. But I'm really disappointed for the Service Central guys, because, I mean, this car was, you know, between Will and I, we were the class of the field. I mean, you look at the fastest lap times. I mean, we've got everybody covered by more than half a second. And, you know, it's a shame it didn't just stay green, because I think we had something for him at the end of the stints, and it just didn't work out.
Was it mostly the oil at the end of pit road you felt you should have been made aware of? Because I know Tim thought if he'd have known that, he would have pitted.
Yeah, no, we would have, for sure. If they had said, hey, you know what, there's a lot of oil on the track, we're probably going to be down another 5, 6, 7 laps, then I understand. But the oil didn't come on the track for about 5 laps into the yellow. So that's my point, is why were we waiting so long there? It's just a shame. You know, I mean, some days it's just not your day. But unfortunately, it's another weekend that, you know, we had all these guys beat, and just didn't work out.
Danica Patrick has drawn the ire of several Brazilian drivers from a quote last week at the nationwide race in Richmond, saying that she didn't start her career like a Brazilian driver and go out and hit everything and then figure it out later. Her quote continued with more comments saying that I started out much more patient with other drivers and patient with myself. Well, Tony Kanaan responded in a Twitter post saying she didn't start like a Brazilian because she's not capable of such a thing and never will be. He says, I think I'll start like a Brazilian this weekend. He'll get his chance from the 25th starting position. So, Kevin, what's the latest, if there is any, on the squabble between these two?
Bob, those comments created quite a stir here and in the IndyCar community. In her Friday press conference, I asked her if she wanted to clarify those comments or if there's anything she wanted to add. She said, quote, I don't recall that, and I don't know what you're talking about. We made requests yesterday and today to talk with her on camera after she had a chance to review the quotes. She declined. Tony Kanaan, when I asked him yesterday for more reaction to the story, smiled and said, I stand by my comments on Twitter. I have nothing more to add. By the way, Danica starts right in front of Kanaan today.
That will be interesting. Dan, of course, has only 3 more races in the series before joining NASCAR full-time next year. As the cars line up 2 by 2, here we go as Scott Dixon takes off toward turn number 1.
Franchitti got into
Briscoe.
Yeah.
He got into Briscoe, and Briscoe got into Rahal.
This is points, big in the points race here, guys.
Charlie Kimball tries to get back on track.
Well, Dario's still running.
Wow. Briscoe has no power, so we're in a full course caution once again.
Boy, Kanaan's licking his chops right now.
Yeah, he needs a lot. Oh, and Graham Rahal.
Well, Briscoe hit Graham after Franchitti knocked Briscoe out. Yeah, so another good qualifying effort goes for naught.
Just shredded the tires. In fact, I think a lot of that might be pickup, actually, because when you get offline.
Every position important here in the last 3 races of the year, and Will Power has all of a sudden taken a 23-point lead on Dario Franchitti in the championship battle. Here's the replay. Dario.
Yep. And that just starts a domino effect. That's definitely what started
contact?
it.
Let's see what kind of penalty he gets, because he better get one.
Because, yeah, he just...
That's we've
been talking about it all year. Hey, you punch somebody in the right rear going into a corner.
Yep.
You should be paying a visit to pit lane.
I mean,
3 abreast going into the corner, and
well, that's exactly what Briscoe. He tapped Ryan Hunter-Reay, and he got a penalty. So Dario deserves a penalty.
And the word apparently is that the 10 car will be penalized for avoidable contact with that little incident and will go to the back of the field.
Well, we'll wait to get the confirmation on what the actual penalty. We don't be sure about that one. We heard a communication that was back of the line. That's not the same.
Right. No.
That's not the same as a drive-through under green.
All he's doing is swapping positions with Briscoe. If it's going to be a penalty, he should hit pit lane when the rest of the guys are in green.
We'll wait till we
That's what the rule book says, right?
Under the steward's discretion. You always have to put in that caveat.
Back of the line is no penalty.
That's not a penalty.
No.
He's already back there.
Yeah, let's just wait and get confirmation before we jump on that.
Are you saying the communication between us and Japan right now is maybe a little bit slow?
Had a few moments this season where we need to be sure things get clarified.
We'll look at the
All right. Well, once this settles down, Wally, I know what you're dying to say. It's the same thing that I'm thinking. How is going to the back of the line?
That's not a penalty.
That's no penalty.
I mean, he's already back there. I think maybe he switched spots with Power. I don't see how that is a penalty.
Yeah, but wow, that is not consistent with what the penalties have been for the exact same incident on other racetracks, and I think they're going to take some heat on that one.
They should.
Absolutely, because that's the driver's biggest complaint with Brian Barnhart, fellas, inconsistency.
At least if he hit pit lane, then, that's some kind of a penalty because you're losing ground on the rest of the field. But just to go to the back when you're already back there, I don't understand that. What's the point?
Exactly. Well, if you got to come through the pit, even if you have to drive through the pits, you're going to lose 35 seconds.
Right. That's a penalty.
Exactly.
Dario Franchitti has worked his way up to 17th position, but here's what happened on a restart.
We're barreling down on the inside, made contact with Briscoe, who collected Kimball.
And Graham Rahal.
I'm sorry, Rahal, yeah. And these guys paid for it.
It's Kimball to the right of the screen, and that move that certainly seems incredibly optimistic for a guy who's trying to win a championship. And Wally, the amazing thing to me is that when we talked to Chip Ganassi afterwards, it was very, very interesting to me when he was talking to Kevin. Normally, a team owner will stick by his driver no matter what happens. He said, I'm not happy about that. That took out 3 of my cars. That was Kimball, Rahal, and, of course, Franchitti. And even he said, I thought that was an awfully optimistic move, and you don't normally hear that when it's your own driver and you're talking to the owner on the timing stand.
Absolutely, and you make a mistake this close to running at Vegas for the championship. I mean, if I'm Power right now, I'm riding. I mean, if somebody told me Franchitti's back there and he's in traffic, sitting in 17th spot, I'm just going to be real happy following Dixon for the rest of this race.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What's the penalty?
Well, yeah, we had to go to the back of the line there for avoidable contact. I'd say it looked like a pretty ambitious move down there in turn 1.
So that's how you saw it as well. You don't really take issue with this call?
No, I'm just a little disappointed. It took out 3 of my cars. Took out 3 of our 4 cars there. Put 3 of his back. The other 2 guys were having great days. It's just terrible that one of our own, one of their teammates took their 2 guys out. It's terrible.
Thank you. Chip Ganassi.
Wow. All right, here we go. Let's try this again.
Understand that Tony Kanaan is going to get a drive-through penalty for speeding on pit lane.
Which is a drive-through.
Which
right?
is, yep.
So he's speeding in a drive-through. That's a worse penalty than some other people have gotten for taking other guys out today.
That would be correct.
Just want to be clear.
Yep.
Dixon had a great day, did everything he possibly could for the team target. And it's obviously going to be some tough conversations. I mean, Dario, we said, before the race, drive like a champion. And, that move down in turn 1. Obviously I wasn't driving the car, but, he took out 2 of our other cars. Very, very disappointing. And, I'm sure he didn't do it purposely, but I got to have some tough conversations with a lot of people that, we had a good day going there up to that point. And it's very, very, very disappointing. So it's good news and bad news all on the same day.
For a guy that's been so good for you and has been so consistent over the years, what do you say? How do you address that with a champion like Franchitti?
Well, he's obviously still a champion, and he's still a great driver. I mean, he just wasn't his day, I guess.
Okay, Chip Ganassi, though, waiting, and the car is here. So we'll talk to Scott Dixon here coming up in just a moment in Victory Lane, where Franchitti finishes where he started in 9th position. The story of your race was the contact with Ryan Briscoe. You got penalized for that. How did you see it take place?
No, rightly so on the penalty. It's a stupid move on my part. On the restart there, I saw what I thought was a gap. I went down the inside, and the gap closed quickly. So, my mistake, really. If I was to do that again, I would definitely not make that move. I'd done a lot of the hard work getting from 9th to up to 5th or 4th or something, and basically just screwed it up. And what's worse is I've apologized to Ryan already. He put it very succinctly. You had more to lose than I did, and he was absolutely right. But I got to apologize to Charlie and Graham as well. I ruined 2 of my teammates' days, and they've been nothing but helpful. So pissed off with that. And great fight back by the target team, though. Came back from 20-something back up to 9th there. Could have been a lot worse today, but should have been a lot better. And I hold my hand up to that one. And if we win this championship, I'm going to have to stop making mistakes.
Have you talked with Chip yet?
Oh, yeah, I spoke to Chip, and I just apologized to him, too. So, we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes, but I shouldn't have made that one today. That was a stupid one.
It's Bourdais pushing hard. Can't pass here. Somebody saw. Oh, was that
Castroneves?
Castroneves. Man,
trying to get around Hildebrand.
He's going to get. Well, if he
completed it.
If he completed it, he'll definitely be in trouble.
It looks like he did.
Yeah.
After Japan, let's say you unleash some feelings on Twitter. Any regrets there, you think, Helio, after what you said?
What I said. It's written there, and I felt I was expressing my feelings. Unfortunately, there is things like that sometimes you can't control. But in the end of the day, it's move on. I'm here in Kentucky. I just want to keep racing, and hopefully we're going to have a great weekend today.
If you want, this interview can count as some community service if you'd like. You got to knock some time off, my friend.
We have a lot, I tell you that. But in the end of the day, I want to thank the fans because they've been helping me, giving me $1, guys. Thank you. I really appreciate that. But it's been kind of like an incredible way. I did not know it would take that amount of craziness. But in the end of the day, we're just going to move forward.
All right, Linda, they're a little...
Just about 30 to go. Graham Rahal is making a pit stop.
Doesn't think he has enough.
Yeah.
He must have really been pushing hard. Or, we heard a report from pit lane that the previous stop, they said, don't wait. Don't wait for the fuel. When the tires are done, drop it off and go. Remember, we had that report from pit lane. If they did that, they weren't full. Boy, that bites you.
That's just, I mean, every time he comes into pit lane this year, something happens with Graham.
That's enough fuel, guys.
Saw Graham Rahal make a pit stop for fuel, and we also eavesdropped on his radio conversation. Graham is not a happy person.
Can someone explain to me why we didn't fulfill to make it to the end?
We're not sure yet.
I need a serious explanation at the end of this race if they're good to go and we're not because we short-filled.
Talk to Dixie Spider. They're not sure either. He did the same kind of strategy. So just save, Graham. Then we won't have to worry about it.
So Graham Rahal not happy about the fact that they short-filled him earlier, and he had to make another pit stop to get topped off for the end of the race. Kevin?
Tried to talk with Tim Keene just a moment ago. He calls strategy for Graham Rahal. As you can imagine, it's not a real happy moment right now. He just waved me off and said, no, we're not talking right now. Marty?
Not the way you wanted to end the race. What did you have to say to Chip after the race?
Nothing. I mean, it's nothing that needs to be discussed here. You know, honestly, you know, the guys did a great job this weekend. Service Central car was quick. You know, we ran up front and didn't get the result we deserved.
This is twice, though, on pit road in the last few weeks.
You know, we just got to look towards next year, and we'll come back stronger.
What do you do now as a driver to try and make things right, and as a leader of the team?
No, I mean, I don't think it's anything like that. I mean, we had a quick car today. As we go to Vegas, we're going to have a quick car. And, you know, like I said, it's all part of the building experience. But, you know, I know that we've got the speed to run up front. You know, quite frankly, there at the end, I was just trying to help Dario. I mean, I think we may have been a little bit quicker if we were on the bottom, but, you know, really just trying to save some fuel and knowing that we were going to be 30 laps short or something. So, you know, really doing what I can. Dixon, I think the three of us were working really well. Dixon said, hey, tell Graham take the middle lane, Dario will be on the bottom, and I'll hang right underneath him. And, you know, it worked for a long time, but unfortunately we didn't have enough fuel.
I know it's been frustrating, but you've had fast cars lately.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as a team, I'm really proud of the Service Central boys because, you know, we've been up front now. So it's got to come our way eventually.
See you in Vegas.
Thanks.